open it up to questions as quickly as possible, keeping it as interactive. If anyone has any questions, please interrupt me as we go along. It just makes it a lot more, I think, interesting when that happens. So what is Kestrel? Kestrel is, as Dr. Fatin kindly put it, an award-winning app that makes it easy for Muslims to achieve their financial goals without compromising on what matters to them the most. We do this by helping people at every stage of the personal financial journey. We help them with budgeting, we help them with saving, and we help them with investing, all in line with their values. Kestrel all began with a single question, which was asked to me by my good friend Daing Termizi when we were studying together at the University of Cambridge. And he saw me paying for lunch one day with a bank card, which is not an Islamic bank. And Daing is from Malaysia, where Islamic banking is very much the norm. And he said, well, you're a practicing Muslim, I'm a practicing Muslim, why aren't you using an Islamic bank? And the truth was, I didn't really have a good answer for him. You know, I'm a practicing Muslim in every aspect of my life, alhamdulillah, here in the UK. You know, pray 5 times a day, eat halal, fast in Ramadan. But when it came to my finances, I didn't really think about it that much, aside from knowing that interest was bad, keeping my money in a current account to avoid gaining interest. But I'd never really put much thought into why I don't use an Islamic bank or indeed any kind of Islamic financial services. And that's where this journey began for us, essentially exploring whether other Muslims thought like me in the UK. Was I alone in thinking like this? Or did many other people experience this problem of trying to bank, save, and invest in line with your religious values, but coming up short with the very lack of options that were available to us? Turns out I wasn't alone. We did a nationwide survey of Muslims' banking habits, spoke to 1,000 people, and we found the same problems persisting throughout. This is a typical person, a typical British Muslim. His name is, let's call him Ali, age 25, living and working in London as an accountant, British Pakistani, earning about £35,000 a year, unmarried, and he's a practicing Muslim. He knows exactly what he wants out of life. He wants to save up for a house one day. He wants to get married, own a car. One day he wants to retire. What he wants is very clear. All the other questions are pretty much unknown. How he's going to get there, aside from saving up what little he can of his salary every single month and year, he doesn't really know what else to do. Investing, not really his expertise. He doesn't have access to a financial advisor or anything like that. It's beyond his realm of knowledge and also his price band. When he's going to get there, similarly unknown. He's very, very bad and undisciplined at planning things maybe more than a year in the future. He has a changing situation, both income and also responsibilities, which make it very difficult for him to financially plan and plan for specific goals. Finally, the biggest problem faced by British Muslims in this group is where to turn to find these Sharia compliant solutions. Whether it's Islamic banks, but especially when it's Islamic investments, people just don't know what options are available out there to them. It's pretty much unknown, and most people assume that they don't exist, just like I did at the time. So this is the solution in a nutshell. We help Muslims at every single stage of the personal finance journey. With our integrated budgeting tool, users can actually plug in their banks and actually view their finances all in one single place. And I'll show you in a second how that works. In terms of the when, we are introducing savings features from what we call the Kestrel eggs, which are essentially savings pots, to an integrated debit card where people can spend directly from that. And finally, where can people actually go to find these investment solutions? So for the first time, we've actually launched this last week. You can check this out in our app. It's a Sharia compliant investment marketplace where you can view, compare, and actually purchase investment options directly through the app itself. Now, what I'm going to do is hopefully seamlessly share my screen from my phone, and then I'll give you a run through of the app. But if anyone's got any questions in the interim, please do shout now. And Dr. Fatim, please do let me know if I'm doing okay for time as well. Okay, so I think if I stop sharing my screen,
you can raise your hand or write in the chat room.
Brilliant. Sorry, I'm trying to stop sharing my screen from one laptop, which I think I am. And I'm trying to share it from this. Can you see my phone screen?
Yes, we can see you.
Apologies, I'm going to have to close this down. 1 second. Okay, apologies everyone, just sharing my screen. For some reason the app froze when I tried to do that. So I'm just going to stop sharing here. There we go.
Yes.
And
This
now
icon.
share screen. Excellent. Okay, now it's working. So you guys should be able to see my phone in 3, 2, 1. There you go. So now we're going to enter into the Kestrel app, which is available for download on the App Store and Google Play. There's 4 aspects of the app that I want to take you through today: the dynamic homepage, the budgeting screen, the savings tool, and then the investment marketplace. So first up is the dynamic homepage. This works very similarly to your Facebook page, your Instagram page, whatever it is you use. But basically, we're trying to tell you what the most important things you need to think about in terms of your money this month are. So here, number 1, the app's wishing me good morning. It's also telling me I've got £2,000 left to spend safely this month. So you can see there, it's telling me that I should take advantage of booking a free financial advice consultation to either set up an ISA or build a pension or invest in general. Saying I can refer a friend to Kestrel, telling me about upcoming bills. As you can see, a lot of Amazon bills taking place, top 5 merchants I've been spending at, and then some recent transactions. So this is the dynamic homepage. It will change according to what's important. We also have an informational thing here where, we put interesting blog posts, budgeting tips, finance tips, different goals that you can achieve through Kestrel. Sorry, there's a bit of feedback from someone. I think it's Lubna. Do you mind going on mute? There we go. Okay, cool. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, wonderful. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So that's the homepage. Now we're going to go on to budgeting. So budgeting, in order for this to work, we take advantage of a permission in the UK known as open banking. So this is a permission which allows us to actually plug into a number of UK banks and actually have their data transferred into Kestrel. So as you can see, we get access to all of these different banks here in the UK, which are all the major banks which exist here. So once you plug them in, you can see I've plugged in 2 major banks, Barclays and Monzo. We actually can use all of the financial data, historic spending, to create a personalized budget for every user based on their historic spending. You can see income, how much they have left to spend this month according to their average budget that we've calculated for them. We've also broken it down into the wealth equation, how much you should ring fence of your budget into essential spending, which is what you should have on your rent, your savings, your transportation. Your non-essential spending, as you can see here, is taking me through a quick tutorial. So non-essential spending are things like food, takeaway. You can see, embarrassingly, I'm spending far too much on eating out. And finally, how much you're actually ending up saving. So basically what it should be is your income minus your essentials minus your non-essentials are your savings at the end of the day. So that's budgeting in a nutshell, and you can see all of your recent transactions here as well. So something which is coming very soon are the Kestrel eggs. The Kestrel eggs are basically savings pots. You can save up for a holiday, for a car, for a wedding. You can see them all on an interactive timeline and transfer money into ring-fence pots of money to save for those specific goals. We're also introducing a debit card so you can access those funds directly through there, and a whole bunch of other features which are coming up later this year, inshallah. But we're really excited to introduce our investment marketplace. There's a few things on the marketplace, from a Zakat calculator powered by National Zakat Foundation, a few other things such as energy switching and carbon offsetting. But the big announcement was the launch of our Sharia compliant marketplace. So we've got a few people on here right now. This is going to be growing every single month. But we are introducing a bunch of Sharia compliant investment possibilities for people. So there's Minted, where you can buy and sell gold, historically a very popular asset class for Muslims. You can buy and sell it from as little as £30 directly through the Kestrel app. Simply Ethical, who are a portfolio manager here in the UK, who we have partnered with, they are offering free financial advice, but they allow you to set up a Sharia compliant pension, invest in Sharia compliant stocks and shares, and set up a general investment account as well. in a tax-efficient structure. Finally, yielders, who some of you will be familiar with, they allow you to actually crowdfund and invest into properties directly here in the UK from as little as £100. So I can actually purchase property, purchase a percentage of a property and benefit from the rent and also the resale of that property in the future. So these are some of the products we have there available. There's a whole bunch of others who will be coming on very, very soon. But that is Kestrel in a nutshell at the moment. And again, available for download on the App Store and Google Play. Some of the elements will work internationally. The marketplace is available internationally as well. So feel free to check it out. So that's Kestrel in a nutshell. So are there any questions at this point? Does anyone want to raise their hand, ask anything? Otherwise, I could jump back into the presentation. Entirely up to you guys.
Go ahead. If you have a question, please raise your hand so we can select you. Or if you're a bit shy, write in the chat room.
No worries, no worries. Okay, so you guys should be able to see my slides again. But yeah, please do feel free to interrupt and ask any questions. It's a lot more interesting, I think, for everyone when people ask the questions. These are just some insights that we found when we interviewed 1,000 Muslims around the country as to, number one, why weren't they using Islamic solutions? The number one reason was actually lack of awareness. They weren't aware of what was actually existing to them. We hypothesized it would be the other elements. That would be number one, such as lack of trust in the services available to them because of how poorly convenient they were and they didn't have digital access, and also the higher fees, which can sometimes be faced by Islamic products. However, it was number one was lack of awareness. Number two, we found that young Muslims cared just as much that their money was doing good in the world, as much as, you know, in ticking an arbitrary no interest box. So that was really interesting, and it introduced an ethical element to what we were doing instead of just Sharia compliant. This is the team. Yes, please, please, please.
Mr. Khiyar is asking about the security aspect of the application.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So we'd like to know about it, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a really, really good question, one we get all the time. So our app has exactly the same inbuilt data security as all of the major banks here in the UK. We use something called 256-bit encryption to protect everyone's data. So that's entirely secure in that way. Open banking is an inherently secure permission. We don't get access to any of your banking credentials. We don't get access to your passwords, to your name, to anything like that. We use a secure API where basically the app immediately takes you to your Barclays app, to your Monzo app, anything like that. We don't get sight or access of anything like that. All we see are your financial transactions and your data, which are completely secure behind that 256-bit encryption wall. But even in the unlikely event that there was a hacking attempt or something like that, all of your banking credentials would be entirely safe because we don't get access to them in the first place. That's the security option there. But we use 256-bit encryption, just like every other bank in the UK, to protect people's transactions and the like. And for the most part, open banking is pretty well known here in the UK. It hasn't been a deterrent for any of our users here. But of course, you don't have to connect your bank to use Kestrel. You can use the investment marketplace without it. It's just that the whole kind of cycle works a lot better when you have your bank connected to it. Does that answer your question?
Is that okay,
Let me know.
Okay. So.
Cool.
Yes. I think okay. Yeah. So there's another question. Is it okay? Sure. Would you like to go with the questions at the end?
No. Let's do the questions. Let's do the questions.
So Mr. Jamal says, investing on gold using app is only virtual trade. That's a question.
No. It's a physical trade. So you can actually choose to have the gold delivered to your house if you'd like. Otherwise, it will be stored in a secure vault. So it's not like a gold-based crypto or anything like that. It is a real physical amount of gold. You can choose to have the small element of gold, or if you buy a big bar of gold, if you want to invest that much, it can be delivered directly to your property. I've used it myself. It's a very cool service.
Wonderful. So I have a question in case the audience don't. App is wonderful. I noted that you are saving money by spending it in like travel and so forth. Is it possible that tomorrow we have an option of saving money by investing?
Yes, yeah, that's exactly where we want to get to. So this feature called the eggs. So, you know, kestrel is the name of a bird, which is why we call our savings pots the eggs. So we're being quite punny with the marketing. But basically what we want to do is as you spend, you can actually build up these savings pots by either rounding up your spare change and putting them into a ring-fenced savings account, which is dedicated to a specific goal. So say, Dr. Fatin, you're looking to buy a house, you can create a kestrel egg, which is called your house egg, and you can put a certain amount of money in there every time you spend, but also you can then choose to accelerate or boost that egg's acceleration by choosing to invest that money into some kind of a Sharia compliant portfolio through Simply Ethical or one of our other providers. Or, as we're also doing, we're looking to link up with Islamic banks in the UK. Many of them are very interested in what we're doing because they don't have digital interfaces. But you can look to open up a savings account and generate a halal return on the money in that savings pot. So it's not just putting money into the egg and just it building up over time. You can actually invest it and also save it with a savings account in a Sharia compliant institution in the UK. So we'll basically be the front end to a lot of these providers who don't have digital front ends. You can't access them through apps. So it's a very interesting kind of business model.
Wonderful, thank you.
Great. If there's no other questions, I'll move on with the slides. But again, if anything else comes up, please feel free to interrupt me. So I'll just quickly go over the team and how this all came together. You can see there's me and there's Dying. So I myself, I'm the founder and the CEO of Kestrel. My background is in strategy consulting, working for the likes of PwC and Deloitte, specifically with asset and wealth managers and big banks, helping them to digitally transform. So this was right up my alley. Secondly, we've got Dying. Dying is from Malaysia, has worked in Islamic banking for Bank Negara, which is the National Bank of Malaysia. So he's worked there his entire career, so is an expert on Islamic banking, Islamic operations, and the like. We're also very lucky to have Ayaz Siddiqui, who is our CFO. Over 30 years of experience as head of compliance and head of audit for some of the biggest banks in the UK, including Bank of New York Mellon, and also RBS, the Royal Bank of Scotland. We have Irfan Radzi, who is our CTO. He is a very, very qualified chief technical officer who has run one of the biggest e-commerce firms in Malaysia for a number of years as their deputy CTO. And we're very, very fortunate to have him. And finally, Dr. Musab Shaharam, our head of data science, which is a team we're really, really excited to be building up, and they make all of our algorithms work. And he's an expert in algorithmic trading, PhD from Oxford. Some of you will be familiar with the faces below, where we're very lucky to have some angel investors and our key advisors on board. We have Oz Ahmed, who is the former CEO of HSBC Amana, but he's the current CEO of Al Raji Bank in Kuala Lumpur. We also have James Bagshaw, who set up one of the biggest Islamic banks in the UK as their co-founder. He works as their CFO for a number of years, Gatehouse Bank. And finally, Sultan Chowdhury, who actually ran the biggest Islamic bank in the UK called Al Rayyan Bank. So he was their former CEO, and he comes on board as our final advisor. This is the traction we've had so far. So we launched pretty much as soon as we graduated in September of 2019, quickly formed our tech team and data science team, which are all in-house based in Malaysia, which helps us keep the costs low. We did a pre-seed round with angel investors of £135,000, got onto various accelerator programs, launched a budgeting tool late last year in our beta phase, did a crowdfunding round on the Seeders platform, raising £200,000 from the public. And finally, we launched our app publicly for download just before Ramadan kicked off. And then finally, our halal marketplace launched just last week. In terms of where we're headed next, so you can see what we've achieved so far. We have a halal stock screening tool, which is coming out in September of this year. Santander is working with us. They're a big bank here in the UK, and they are funding that. They're very interested in it. Secondly, we've got halal savings accounts, the Kestrel Eggs, launching later this year, followed by the debit card. And then, excitingly, international expansion. We're very, very interested in moving specifically to Southeast Asia. Malaysia is what we've had our eye on for a long time because we've got a good base set up there already. The majority of our team, about 14 people, are based in Malaysia at the moment, in between Kuala Lumpur and Johor. And of course, we've got a good advisory team out there already as well. So that's where we're looking to go. And that's pretty much it. That's me talking about our app, Kestrel. Please get in contact if you have any other questions. Feel free to check out our app. You can download it on the App Store and Google Play. And we're also in the middle of a current funding round where we're looking to raise a significant amount from various institutionals. So if any of you are interested or would like to inquire about that, please do get in touch. But otherwise, thank you very much. And Dr. Fatin, I'll hand back over to you if there are any questions or anything from anyone.
Thank you so much for the very wonderful presentation. Quite interesting to see, you know, the developments and as well the time frame that you have given and where are you now, and as well where you would like to go ahead with the strategies of Kestrel. Of course, any webinar wouldn't be complete unless we have challenging questions. I'm sure that you have a lot of urgent questions. So go ahead, raise your hands. Let me know or let us know what is exactly you're looking to learn from having Mr. Arib over here. We're very honored actually to have you. I know that you have a busy schedule. So take the opportunity, please go ahead and ask your questions. As I have informed you earlier, if you would like to use the chat room for that due to security issues in your own bank, go ahead and use it. You have the chat function and you can ask your questions. In the meantime, I'll ask you a couple of questions myself until the audience think of. So question number one, do we need to invest in Kestrel by having like a portfolio that is known to your market? Do I need to have like an ID, like a registered British ID, if I wanted to invest in Kestrel, or it doesn't matter, it's open for all?
So it depends on the provider that you're looking at. Some of them will require you to be a UK citizen. However, increasingly we're engaging with international providers. Yielders, for example, is open to over 50 countries to invest from. So people from all over the place, over 50 countries can invest in the UK property market through the Kestrel app. You can take a look at Yielders. We're also in talks with many providers from Malaysia and around the world who are more international. So that's definitely the direction we want to go towards. The UK was a really nice base for us, but we really want to open this up to interest from all around the world in that way. The halal stock screening tool is something that has a lot of international appeal for people, where a lot of people want to invest in the stock markets, but want to know whether what they're investing in is Sharia compliant. So that is something that yeah, we're really looking forward to. So some things you need to be UK, but other things increasingly you don't need to.
Okay, thank you so much. There is a question. What is the minimum amount for your crowdfunding?
Oh, yeah, so good question. So we ran a crowdfunding campaign on Cedars in December of last year, so quite a while ago now. There was no minimum for that, so we had a lot of people coming in from as little as £10. That crowdfunding round finished in February of last year. It was oversubscribed. In terms of our current funding situation, if you're interested, I think we're starting minimum investments from technically we say £5,000, but open to discussion. So please do get in touch. Sometimes we do go lower if you're interested in our current round.
Okay. I saw in your in the annual report or the 2021 report of IFN that you have been classified as a challenger banking category. So what does that mean?
So challenger banking has quite a broad term, but essentially what it means is that we are helping people with various banking services in a digital context in a way that is different from the majority of other banks. The way in which we're doing that is we use open banking, so throughout the budgeting tool that you just saw, but the real way in which we're doing that is building those savings pots, those savings accounts where you can build up that Kestrel egg and save towards specific goals, and then linking the debit card to that. So those are things which we're really, really excited. We're building literally as we speak right now. The team is working very hard on that in Malaysia to launch that first in the UK. But we are looking to do very similar services with providers in Malaysia, and we've had a lot of interest in the US as well from various markets too. So in order to launch there, we're looking to partner with existing people who have the appropriate licenses, and then we'll take care of the front end, building the app, the interface, and the user functionality, the marketing, all that kind of thing. So it's really about partnering with existing players who have those licenses, but maybe don't have the digital front ends to pull it off, similar to the Islamic banks here in the UK, who don't have good apps and that kind of thing. And because of that, they've cut out the majority of younger retail Muslim customers.
My next question is on financing. I don't know if you do that, like a peer-to-peer personal financing. I didn't see that. So does it require to have kind of a regulatory body that has like a creditworthiness screening? Is this something that is already happening in the UK?
Yes, so credit scoring is very, very important. The main thing that we are looking to launch, I didn't have it on the presentation, but we are looking to launch a home purchase plan. So something which can help Muslims actually get onto the housing ladder here in the UK. It's probably one of the biggest problems Muslims face. A lot of people have tried tackling this so far, but it usually ends up either too expensive for Muslim consumers or too much risk is taken on by the lender or the investor into it. Those are the big barriers to it. We've developed quite an interesting model. We just need a partner to pull it off, as you say, for the credit scoring mechanism and to actually review the houses. If we can't find a partner, then we'll just build it ourselves. So we have the data and the tech team available to actually start doing that ourselves. It's just a question of timing. But we always prefer partnering with people to do things like this. So if there's anyone out there who's interested in doing something like this, then please feel free to reach out.
Okay, Al-Walid is asking a question. Is there an IBAN number? Do you mean for the survey, Al-Walid?
No, so IBAN, so you're talking about the banking registration number, so the actual account number. Yes, so once the Kestrel debit cards are out, we will have an IBAN associated with each account, which means it can function entirely as a normal bank account itself. I do stress that you don't have to use the Kestrel debit card if you don't want to. Many of our customers prefer using their current bank accounts in IBAN, and they would like to have Kestrel as an add-on feature on top, something that clips onto their current banking services. So that's kind of the beauty of the business model that we're developing is you don't have to use it as your main bank if you don't want to, but if you do, then we do have those facilities available. In terms of multiple currencies, yes, that will be available to you. We're starting off with pound sterling and euros, but we will of course look to expand that as we get increasingly international. So watch this space.
Okay, my next question is on the marketplace. What does it involve actually? Like the sectors, what markets are there? Halal
Sure.
fashion?
So in terms of the marketplace, it's pretty much investments at the moment. We're talking about investment marketplace. The asset classes which are there are, we have property through yielders, we have gold through minted, and we have general portfolio management and fund management through Simply Ethical. So those are what we provide on the investment marketplace, but we have other services we're bringing on board too. So we have a Zakat calculator, as you saw, powered by National Zakat Foundation. We're also looking to bring in an energy switching service. So people who are paying too much on their energy bills, their housing bills, you can actually automatically switch that through a service within Kestrel. We take a look at how much you're paying. We find a cheaper service for you and we switch you onto that automatically. Something which we're also introducing is a carbon calculator. So through your spending, we can actually figure out, okay, so you spend this much on petrol, you spend this much on meat, that equates to 5 kilograms of carbon that you've actually produced this year. And if you'd like, you can plant a tree to offset that carbon. So that's something which has been very popular amongst our younger consumers. And it's something we're looking to introduce as well, again, through partnerships. So that's where the marketplace is. In terms of do we get onto clothes and all that kind of thing, that is a really interesting question because it's kind of the question of what is a super app, right? The general definition of a money super app, generally we've mainly seen these things come out of like Indonesia and Malaysia, where it's something that usually started out typically as like a ride hailing app or hiring a motorbike or an Uber or something like that. And then they add in all these other features such as, debit card, savings accounts, shopping online, all that kind of thing. So that's really where ultimately we want to get to. We do want to be a money super app for people, offering them services beyond what they currently want, offering them something which allows them to engage with the app on a daily basis to make it very, very interesting. But the final part is a learning mechanism for them as well. So you don't just come there for services, you come there to upskill yourself and learn about Islamic finance or other parts of Islam that maybe you didn't anticipate before. So those are the elements of the super app that we'd love to move towards.
Wonderful. So Al-Walid is asking, what is your main focus, individuals? Individuals or SMEs?
So it's a good question. Our mission and our heart is always with the retail space, with the individuals who we really do want to help. However, we acknowledge that in terms of our business plan and where the money comes in, working with the providers such as the big banks and building something specific for them and bespoke for them can be a really good revenue stream for us as well. If your question is, do we want to do business banking, so SME banking? We could look into that in the future, but right now we're looking at the individuals just because that is where our heart and our intention is with. But like some of the other digital banks who are non-Sharia in the UK, who such as Starling Bank, they decided to move into the business space because it was more lucrative. We're always open to doing that if it looks like the situation will arise. So yeah.
Wonderful. So there is a comment. I really like the idea of creating a super app by Camilla.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's I think it's something that the word super app doesn't resonate with a retail customer that much, but it's something which we always keep in the back of our minds as a if inshallah everything goes to plan and we get the funding we're looking for and the business model takes off, then who knows where this could go. But I'm a big advocate for partnerships as opposed to building things out ourselves. So always looking to work with other people, work with what they've built already to make it work, as opposed to building things out ourselves. So I think in doing that, there's a really good ecosystem which is starting to develop globally. A lot of focus areas in Oman, in Malaysia. If we can plug into those ecosystems, I think we've got already the core elements of something that could become a super app.
So is there an element that you can embed later on, such as buy now, pay later, which is now gaining momentum in the market?
Yeah, it's something we've talked about. I myself feel a little bit hesitant about it. Just we've got a really, really big, one of the big unicorns, so plus $1 billion plus valued buy now, pay later firms, Klarna, which is here in Europe. They've got a lot of traction. They're very, very popular, but I just worry about the ethical implications of it, where sometimes, younger people who can't afford it get into very unhealthy spending habits where they're just consuming a lot of things which, they're then having to finance, which they probably shouldn't do from a financial and ethical perspective. So that's my own kind of thing about it. I think if we can do it in a way that is fair and ethical and doesn't encourage this, crazy kind of spending and spending beyond your means when you should be doing more responsible things with your money, then absolutely. But don't put me on record for that. So we never know what could happen. But absolutely, I think there is a possibility there if it's done right and the consumer is protected.
Yes. So there is a question by Khiyar. Can you localize the app for Oman or Kuwait?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. All we need is the right partner in Oman or in Kuwait to help us to enter that market. It's something we would love to do. We can always enter the markets as an investment provider relatively easily. But in order to come up with, the savings accounts, the debit cards, we need a bank to help us get in. So anyone, if any of you on the call are at a bank who maybe doesn't have a great digital front end and you think we could plug into that and help you guys, that's absolutely what we would love to do. And we're already looking to do that in Malaysia to enter the market there.
Wonderful. So Al-Walid is asking, so it is almost the same as KNAP Bank and Monzo, but in Islamic concept. So
to an extent. So the reason, so Monzo is a big digital bank in the UK. KNAP, I assume, is the same, but I'm not familiar with that brand. So the main difference is this: if you want to use Monzo, you need to give up all your other banks and put all your money into Monzo and you use them properly. Otherwise, you can use Monzo with other banks, but Monzo is not making a lot of money unless you're using them as your main bank account. You're doing all your spending, you're getting your income paid into that. And the horrible little secret in fintech is that not many people want to do that. Not many people want to give up the big traditional banks that have been here for hundreds and hundreds of years, where there is a feeling of security and safety with them, despite them not being very digitally up to date or very digitally good, or maybe their apps are not as good. So Monzo has struggled with that. The other banks in this space, such as Revolut and Starling, decided to move into other areas to make money. Revolut, most of their money comes from their marketplace, so they offer non-Sharia investments on that. So it's been very lucrative for them. Starling Bank decided to go into SME banking, business banking, instead of retail banking, and that's where they're actually making money. Monzo is in this kind of gray area where they're struggling with what to do right now and where to turn to, so it'll be interesting to see how they come out of it. The difference between us and Monzo is you don't need to give up whatever bank you're using. We use open banking, which means you just plug in Kestrel to whatever you're currently using. We build that automatic budget for you. We help you to save, but we work alongside those other things. If you want to take the Kestrel debit card, we will give it to you if you really want it, but we're not just going to give it out to everyone, just because. It's very, very costly to do that, and it's not a good revenue stream in order to make that work. So we'll be focusing on other areas like the investment marketplace, the halal stock screener, and working with institutions, investment providers, and big banks to help actually build digital interfaces for them, if you see what I mean. So I would say I would say kind of like Monzo, but also not really like Monzo at all, because you can use anyone with us, and we're fine. Our business model will survive. It's more robust.
My next question, Arif, is regarding the Oman market. I don't know how much you do know about it, but we are characterized as having young population. You have the bankers over here, mashallah. You have a couple of bankers from Al-Az, Bank Nizwa, and of course other banks joining in as well. So what advice would you like to give them? You did say that the banks are not really up to date when it comes to digitization, and they have their own concerns, and when it comes to the full embediment in that way. But the Oman is really going forward with the fintech strategies. We have RTGS, which is the real-time gross settlement system, coming soon, and it's going to be the first Gulf country to embed the full digitization, specifically as we have a high penetration level for Wi-Fi and mobile use. So you have the bankers, you are the expert. If there is an advice you would like to give to the Omani market, what would it be?
What I'd say is, just make it as easy as possible for entrants such as ourselves to enter that market, get set up. Funding is one of the biggest things. So if any of you are interested in doing this and perhaps transforming your business model, working directly with one of these startups, taking one of them under your wing, whether it's as a partnership, whether it's as an acquisition, that can often be a much less expensive option than building something out yourself. Because people such as ourselves at Kestrel, we've tried the market, we know what works, we've spent months and months developing the user interface, talking to users every single day to see what works. We've got a wealth of knowledge there, and if you do want to work with us, I'd always recommend purchasing or partnering as opposed to building it out yourself. So it sounds like all the things are happening, having the right accelerators there to do that. A good example has been Santander Bank in the UK, where part of their accelerator program have been immensely useful to us. They've really helped us. They've never had a Sharia compliant focus before, but they've been very interested in what we're doing and have actually funded some of the projects that we're doing. For example, the Sharia compliant stock screener is funded by Santander because they are interested in it. If any of you are interested in what we're doing with Kestrel, we're one of the very few people with a live product in this space in the market right now. So, we'd love to talk to you. We'd love to chat about potential partnerships and that kind of thing. As I say, we are open to international expansion. We've had our focus on Malaysia, but we're very happy to look at other areas if the opportunity is right and mutually beneficial. So, yeah, I think hopefully that is an okay answer to the question. But really I think it sounds like you guys and Oman is doing amazing work compared to a lot of the other countries.
Thank you so much. I wanted to ask about social finance as well when it comes to, the Islamic Fintech is very different in terms of the Sharia screening. What you have mentioned about, having the screening, contributing to society. And I'm very happy to see that you have actually included about the footprints, because we do have these sustainability concepts embedded within the Sharia as well, which is something that is quite unknown. So if I would like to know if there is kind of more integration to the social finance initiative, specifically now with social distancing, you're not able to, for instance, have very easy access to orphanages or charitable charitable organizations at the time of the pandemic, when of course it's very difficult to gain the usual access we had before.
Absolutely. We've already done a pilot for that with the National Zakat Foundation. So in Ramadan, we onboarded them onto our app, and we had a zakat calculator, which allowed people to actually calculate their zakat, which was due to them, and actually donate it directly through the app itself. But in the future, because it was so popular, we're really thinking of helping other kind of finance initiatives in the same space, whether it's in the charity space and so on and so forth. The one kind of hesitation or thing just to be careful about there is that the charity sector, there is a lot of reputational risk there. So it's just about onboarding the right kind of charities, the right kind of things, and doing the proper due diligence amongst them. Because unfortunately, there's some people out there who aren't always that honest with the use of funds. So I think that's why a lot of people have shied away from this in the past. But we are good friends with National Zakat Foundation. We worked with them many times before, so happy to work with them. But again, if anyone has any good suggestions for charities that they'd like to see onboarded and other things like that, we'd love to do that. So please let us know.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Arib. I think I bombarded you with a lot of questions.
That's okay.
Yeah. I don't know if there is any other question that you would like to address to Arib before we wrap up the session. Please raise your hand if you'd like to go ahead and speak to him directly, or as I said, you can use the chat room. If not, can we take like a group photo with everyone? Oh, I think there is a question. There is a question over there. Okay.
Blockchain. Yeah, so I think with blockchain technology, you can trace the donations. Yeah, that's true. So before I started Kestrel, blockchain was actually my area of expertise. I've got a lot of mixed feelings about blockchain. I think you're right. Yes, you can do it, but only if the entire infrastructure is ready and everyone is on board with using the blockchain. I think inshallah in the future it can be something which we could look to do. But yeah, it could be a way of tracing that things are going to the right places. I think I think it remains to be seen. I do still think there are very few real use cases for blockchain, and I think usually there are viable alternatives to blockchain which are out there at the moment as well. But yeah, it's a possibility for sure.
Wonderful. So if there is no other questions, can we take like a photo session with everyone opening their camera? If your bank doesn't allow you for security reasons, we do understand. But whomever is able to switch on their camera, please go ahead so we can take a group photo with everyone. This is going to be posted in our social media accounts, so this is to let you know. Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So for example, I'll give you a few minutes. Yeah.
Good to see everyone. I should also add, if you want to find out more about us, I'll drop the link in the chat, but you can check out our website. It's just kestrel.io. So KESTRL.io. So you can always look us up there.
Okay, so Go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say I'll also put my my email information if anyone wants to get in touch if they have any other questions. So that's in the chat too.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm gonna take it again. Okay, so just to remind you, I have placed a link for your feedback. Your feedback matters, so it only takes 2 minutes. Please go ahead and complete that feedback form. If you want more interaction with Arib will not let you go off the hook. So if the audience in Oman wants more interaction with you, I asked them to complete if they wanted more programs in future. As you are going along in this journey, we would like to know how we can benefit, from the challenges that you had. So we learn here in this particular market. So go ahead and complete the feedback form. In addition to this session will be downloaded in our YouTube channels. I already provided the link to the YouTube channel. Please go ahead and subscribe. We have other programs coming in. And before I wrap up as well, for those people who are joining us, we do have another program coming. So this one, where is it? Yes. Coming up very soon. Please join us tomorrow. Book and author series, COVID-19 and Islamic Social Finance, with Prof. Ziad Muhammad and Prof. Dr. Ashita Muniz from INSIF, which is a collaboration done College of Banking and Financial Studies and INSIF. So it's a very interesting social finance dimension that we would be very pleased to have you on board and discuss all of the issues on social finance. Specifically, it's gaining momentum at the moment. So thank you so much for joining with us today. And we hope to meet you in future for other events. And thank you so much, Arib. We have been very honored and pleased for you to dedicate some of your valuable time. I can see that you've probably been busy with one meeting after another. So we'll leave you to this, but let us give also the chance to the audience if they would like to say something, give thanks as well to you. Anyone who would like to say a few words before we wrap up? So Khiyar says thank you so much. Very informative presentation. That's wonderful. If you want more of it, go ahead and complete the evaluation, the feedback form. We'd like to know if you want more, then we can catch up with Arib more, inshallah. Anyone would like to say a few words? Mafi?
Okay, I can say for a few words.
Good. Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Faten. Really, it's beyond my expectation. I liked the lecture, and thank you very much, Mr. Arib. It was very informative. I hope such program presented in a course form, like more hours in detail, as to know more about the technology behind this app and related issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, very kind words.
Thank you so much. Jazakallah alfa khair. Okay, Arib, thank you so much again. Jazakallah alfa khair. We hope that we will meet inshallah next time. I see that there is a lot of enthusiasm with the participants, and we'd like to have like a longer version if it's possible. Like maybe the audience would like to know, I don't know, your specialization while you were in Cambridge, is it like Oracle Cloud, or is it like more business oriented?
It was very business. Yeah, so I did an MBA when I was there, so pretty general, but with a focus on digital transformation. Specifically, I did some blockchain projects as well, so in the real estate space too. So I worked with Investec, which is a big asset and wealth management firm here, and they were looking to digitize investment into REITs, so real estate investment trusts. So I learned some interesting stuff there too. So yeah, if that's of interest to anyone, happy to chat about it.
Wonderful. Yeah, because from the comment that the brother gave, I think there is more emphasis on the technology aspect on the developing of the application. So that would be wonderful, actually. And I'm going to contact you on this, inshallah, after we are done. Yeah. Thank you so much, all of you, and hope that we meet, inshallah, in future. As a reminder, tomorrow we have a wonderful session with INSIF. Please join us. We would like to have you on board. Jazakumullah alfa khair. Thank you so much, Mr. Arib. Ahsant.
Thank you, everyone. And apologies once again for being late. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Wa alaikum assalam.